Key point 1. Enhancing your ADHD life with peace and joy. ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is characterized by persistent inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity symptoms. The effects are often considered inappropriate for the person's age and can lead to difficulties in daily life, including at school, work, and in relationships. While there's no cure for ADHD, effective treatments, including medication and behavioral therapies, can help manage symptoms and improve overall functioning. Self-care techniques belong to the second group of treatments. Their focus is not on fixing the issue, but on embracing it and learning to manage it easily. Reframing the perception of ADHD is the first step to living at peace with yourself. Self-care methods don't try to make a person with ADHD conform to neurotypical thinking. They aim to improve focus and emotional stability, reducing damaging thought patterns. Remember, routines and activities that seem usual and easy for neurotypical people may cause great difficulty for people with ADHD. Meeting deadlines, remembering details, and focusing on tasks requires extreme effort. Implementing self-care methods increases your mindfulness and makes you pay more attention to your needs. It also allows you to embrace your unique way of thinking and view it as your power, not your weakness. Many activities can improve your life, including 1. Journaling, 2. Demasking, 3. Emotional regulation, 4. Hydrating, and 5. Managing sensory overload. Self-care offers endless possibilities. You can improve your well-being through both physical and mental means. Following the many self-care methods will undoubtedly bring more joy and peace to your life. With them, you'll better understand yourself and your brain. You'll manage to regulate your emotions, no matter how intense, and care for your needs. Did you know? People with ADHD are more likely to become entrepreneurs or engage in entrepreneurial activities. Key point 2. A piece of paper and a pen can go a long way. Regulating feelings and avoiding being overwhelmed may be a real challenge for people with ADHD. The feelings of shame and guilt are familiar to hyperactive people. If you struggle with ADHD, the world may seem intense to you, and so can your response to it. You can't control it and sometimes even think you're a burden to others. This pattern of thinking is false. You shouldn't blame yourself for being neurodivergent. ADHD is neither good nor bad. It's simply a part of your identity. What self-care methods can enhance peace within yourself? You could begin with a simple yet effective technique, journaling. Though the activity is straightforward, it may be tough to make the first step. Don't fret. Just start noting your thoughts or what happened to you over the day or week. Another tricky part may be staying consistent. The key is constant practice. Taking up journaling may be challenging at first, and you might resort to forcing yourself to do this initially. But with time, it'll become a part of your routine. You also don't need to use the actual pen and paper. Use your laptop, a note app, or make voice recordings. You may even use illustrations if you're feeling creative. Why is journaling so essential? Let's break the benefits into 3 groups. First, journaling makes the world less hectic. Being frequently overwhelmed and ADHD often go hand in hand. Your brain becomes so used to spiraling that it may feel like a small tornado in your head. When you journal, you pause, breathe, and voice all your concerns individually. After making an entry, you can reread it and see that every problem has a solution. Second, journaling makes patterns visible. It's human to make the same mistakes repeatedly, but writing down your experiences makes you more aware of your actions. Consequently, you may notice harmful patterns and work toward fixing them. And third, journaling makes emotions manageable. You may frequently ask yourself, am I overreacting or are my feelings valid? Your emotions are always valid, but their intensity can be too much for you. Journaling allows you to take a new perspective and objectively evaluate your experiences. Key point 3. The show doesn't have to go on. The desire to belong is a big part of the human condition. We always want acceptance and understanding. People with ADHD frequently use masking to avoid standing out. ADHD masking is when someone with ADHD presents in a way that makes them seem like they are not living with the disorder. Sasha Hamdani. Masking can be conscious and unconscious, healthy and damaging. It is a coping mechanism. The more neurotypical you behave, the bigger chance that you'll find acceptance as a regular member of society. Masking for short periods may be fine, but when it's prolonged, it becomes exhausting. It may also lead to anxiety, depression, and substance abuse. A terrifying consequence of masking is the slow loss of your personality. If you're constantly pretending to be someone else, how will you know who you actually are? Some masking mechanisms are beneficial because they allow you to adapt. For example, if you're prone to fidgeting, you may find a way of doing this less visually to attract less attention. But if you're speaking with neurotypical people and are afraid of voicing your thoughts, you're being unkind to yourself. Be more mindful when you start to mask and ask yourself whether you're doing this to make your life easier or to please someone else. Try to avoid repressing your emotions. Masking might have you in a tight hold, forcing you to be as chill as possible. Your feelings are valid, no matter how overwhelming they might be. Establish a safe place for yourself. There might be situations when you have to mask. For example, at work. Make sure you have a space to be yourself and rest after masking. However, the best route forward is to find people who accept you for who you are. Being surrounded by friends who make you feel safe enough to remove your mask is an absolute joy. Talking about your experience is essential. You might find people who relate to you on the deepest level possible. Remember, don't be afraid to open up. The right people will understand and accept you. Key point 4. Making acquaintance and friends with the chaos. Let's consider emotional regulation in a bit more detail. How can you manage feelings so big and overwhelming that they have the potential to fog your thoughts? Where there's a will, there's always a way. No matter how hard it may seem, you have the strength to achieve inner peace. Your biggest goal on the emotional regulation road is becoming more mindful and aware of what is happening inside your mind and heart. To achieve this, you can use the methods we've already discussed: journaling and unmasking. But to further enhance your journey, you need to understand how emotional dysregulation might manifest. Here are the key areas where feelings may take over your agency. 1. Impulsivity. People with ADHD struggle to inhibit inappropriate emotional responses, thoughts, and statements, leading to frustration and impatience. Sometimes this wave of emotions makes you act on impulse. It may also make you furious or overwhelmingly excited. Number 2. Struggles with self-soothing. Being aware of feelings is challenging enough, and calming yourself down seems impossible. An outburst of emotions leaves you in a fight or flight mode, which lasts until this constant tension leaves you exhausted and almost numb. Number 3. Difficulty in changing focus. When your brain spirals, switching your attention to something else seems impossible. This agile mood causes a freeze in rational and logical decision-making. You can't develop solutions as long as your thoughts chaotically circle in your head. Number 4. A tendency for unhealthy responses. The disorganized fog in your brain makes it difficult to create a sound action plan that will pull you out of this state. To make yourself feel better, you might resort to harmful coping mechanisms that bring you immediate satisfaction, such as smoking or substance abuse. You might even lash out at someone or, on the contrary, make commitments that you don't want. Nurture compassion, patience, and kindness in yourself. If you've just started your emotional regulation journey, ask for help from a trusted friend. Keep in mind, people for whom we hold affection have the unique ability to calm us down and talk us out of a frantic state. Emotional regulation also becomes much easier when we care for our physical needs. We'll discuss how to do this in more detail later. Key point 5. A bottle of water a day keeps anxiety away. When you think about self-care, the first thing that comes to mind is most likely the physical type: taking walks, eating and sleeping, exercising and quitting smoking. We know how vital these activities are, yet we frequently neglect them. However, the effect of good physical self-care on the ADHD brain is mind-blowing, or rather, mind-calming. What methods of physical self-care will make you feel better when you have ADHD? There are many possibilities, but you can start with something as simple as drinking enough water. We cannot survive without it, yet it's astonishing how frequently we go an entire day without drinking at least a few glasses. When your body is dehydrated, your heart rate increases. This bodily response leads to anxiety. Have you ever felt trapped or helpless for what seems like no reason? You likely need to pour yourself a glass of water. Remember, drink water when you feel stressed, and you'll notice the change. If you're not used to hydrating regularly, it might be tough to stay consistent. However, like any habit, drinking water can become a part of your routine with enough practice. Here are some tips on how to make hydration fun and easy for you. 1. Always keep a bottle near you. Remembering to drink will become much easier when it's visible to you. Water might bring some structure into your life. Take a couple of sips every time you finish a task or a part of it, and it'll slowly become your habit. 2. Drink a glass at the start of your day. As soon as you wake up, hydrate yourself. This habit will improve your health and clear your head. There's also a pleasant bonus. Good hydration reduces the chances of constipation. The latter is a nasty anxiety trigger, so avoid it at all costs. 3. Enhance the flavor. If water seems boring to you, complement it with fruit or mint. You may even add cucumbers or herbs. Key point 6. Minimizing and managing sensory overload. There are many reasons people neglect physical self-care. You might feel like you lack time to pay attention to your body and hope it'll figure everything out independently. Sporting activities might also seem too complicated. You may believe they take too much effort. People with ADHD frequently rely on instant gratification too much. Smoking cigarettes is more manageable than practicing meditation from scratch. Worse, you might think physical self-care is something you have to earn. This belief is far from the truth. Everyone should be mindful of their needs and try to satisfy them as much as possible. Taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a means of survival. Sasha Hamdani. Sensory overload is a common issue for many people with ADHD. Neurotypical individuals frequently tune out background noises with ease. Keep in mind, ADHD brain is particularly sensitive to outside stimulants. It's no wonder you notice everything surrounding you. People chewing, coughing, laughing, tapping, and even breathing. Your clothes might feel too tight or too loose. The smells around you may be overwhelming as well. The colors might be too bright or too dark. Everything you can imagine on the sensory level may feel like suffocation. On a small scale, sensory overload makes it harder to focus on tasks. It makes you want to scream and shut down on a grand scale. When you feel like the world is too much, take a pause. Breathe deeply and be mindful of how the air travels through your body. If you can, go to a place that makes you less stressed. Count to 10. Try focusing on one sensory experience at a time. Take the bottle you already have near you and drink some water. If your feelings aren't so intense and the last bits of advice aren't helpful, you can take preventative measures to avoid being overwhelmed. If tags on your clothes drive you crazy, cut them off. If sounds are too much for you, try wearing noise-canceling headphones. Food can also cause sensory overload. People with ADHD often can't consume certain meals. The taste isn't the problem. The texture might unsettle you. The answer is simple. When something makes you uncomfortable, don't force yourself to eat it. Key point 7. Stepping away from binge eating and improving your relationships with food. Regulating food consumption is as essential as paying attention to hydration. People with ADHD frequently have problems with both. Now you know the tricks to make water your loyal companion. What about food? Healthy eating habits are crucial for both physical and mental well-being. Unfortunately, if you have ADHD, you tend to apply hyperactive urges to your food routine. When you lack attention, you may start seeing snacks as a distraction. Food might become your savior from boredom or upsetting emotions, mistaking them for hunger. The name for this distraction is binge eating. Your first step on the journey to a healthy relationship with food is becoming aware of temptations and how you act on them. Remember, if left unchecked, binge eating can turn into a severe, and in some cases, life-threatening eating disorder. Here are some ways to increase your mindfulness. 1. Limit your access to temptations. You're less likely to act on your urges if you don't have any snacks. 2. Choose what you eat wisely. Don't ever starve yourself. Food is vital. Instead, make your intake slightly smaller. Even better, you can replace unhealthy snacks with more nutritious ones. Instead of a bag of chips, you can buy yourself some cabbage leaves. This alternative might sound less delicious, but it's not. Cabbage is crunchy and tasty. You can even supplement it with hummus. 3. Have a food schedule. Regular intakes of food make your day and thoughts more structured. They also regulate blood sugar, making you feel better and clearing your mind. Number 4, become aware of your boredom. You can substitute food binging with different activities that give you the dopamine you need. Take a walk, talk to a friend, have a glass of water with lemon, or do some crafts. And number 5, try mindful eating. Remember that eating can be a beautiful experience if you pay attention to small details. Awareness of the flavor, texture, and even how your food looks enhances your experience and keeps you present. Occasional and infrequent binging is nothing to be ashamed of. Everyone uses eating as a hobby or a cheer-up technique from time to time. Don't feel guilty. Instead, try to be more aware of what you eat and how you do it. This mindfulness will positively influence your relationship with ADHD and yourself. Conclusion. ADHD doesn't have to be your enemy or make your life miserable. On the contrary, you can learn to live with it and even befriend the disorder. With proper medications and good self-care routines, you have the power to find peace and joy amidst the chaos. Pay attention to both physical and mental health. A happy mind and a sound body will make your symptoms less intense and overwhelming. Respect your emotions, no matter how extreme they might feel. Staying kind and mindful is essential on the road to prosperous well-being. You don't have to force yourself into the neurotypical way of thinking. You should accept how your brain operates and learn to work with it, not against it. Self-care techniques will take you a long way. Work toward developing healthy habits, such as journaling and drinking water. Don't get disheartened if you don't feel better immediately. Self-care is about accumulation, not immediate gratification. Emotional regulation may seem impossible, but you are strong. Surround yourself with kind people who will accept you for who you are, no matter how much protection you might feel from your mask. Don't forget to take it off occasionally. Allow yourself to breathe and relax. You are powerful enough to enhance your life with joy and peace. Try this. Pour yourself a glass of water. Drink it slowly and be mindful of each sip. Then, decide on your journaling medium. A piece of paper, your laptop, or something else. Finally, write down how your day went and the emotions you experienced. When you finished, read your words and observe how they make you feel.